Welcome to my latest video in the Making Your Business Less Dependent on You series based on the book of the same name. Last week I talked about who you should take on if you need some help. This week I'm going to focus on the importance of total clarity right from the outset in the recruitment process. This is a story about 4 people named everybody, somebody, anybody and nobody. There was an important job to be done and everybody was sure that somebody would do it. Anybody could have done it, but nobody did it. Somebody got angry about that because it was everybody's job. Everybody thought anybody could do it, but nobody realized that everybody wouldn't do it. It ended up that everybody blamed somebody when nobody did what anybody could have done. The story may be confusing, but the message is clear. No one took responsibility, so nothing got accomplished. It's a story that plays out often in organizations, companies and teams, anywhere where there is a culture that lacks accountability. Back in the dim and distant past, I had a difficult manager who was always telling everyone how important she was and never admitting to making any mistakes, even though they were obviously her fault. For the purpose of this recording, we will call her Tina, although that wasn't her real name. I also had a lady who did a variety of admin and financial jobs who we'll call Shirley. Shirley was one of the most conscientious people who ever worked for the firm. She eventually retired through ill health many years after the normal retiring age. Shirley rarely said anything bad about anyone, so when she made a comment in a discussion about Tina having sloping shoulders, I asked her what she meant. Well, she explained, everything that's on her shoulders seems to slide right off them and across the desk to Jemima. Again, Jemima wasn't her real name, but she was a very good junior member of staff who became a very good senior member of staff in the years that followed. I made a point to keep an eye on the situation and observed over the next few weeks how little work Tina actually did. Even the things she was qualified to do and Jemima wasn't seemed to end up being done by Jemima. The final straw was when some work that I'd given Tina was wrong and Tina blamed Jemima. That's what people with sloping shoulders do. Of course, the opposite of sloping shoulders are monkey collectors. This is covered in the book, The 1 Minute Manager Meets the Monkey. In the book, the writer encourages the reader to think of each task that needs to be done as a monkey. And if you've got to do it, then you have a monkey on your back. In your business, generally speaking, the main monkey collectors are also great staff members. As the business owner, you want your apprentices to become great monkey collectors. You want them to take every single monkey they can get. You want them to be hungry to learn new things. What you don't want then is to become barriers to growth. So many businesses find themselves in dysfunctional situations where they have a whole company full of people with sloping shoulders and 1 or 2, including the highly stressed business owner, running around clearing up the mess. If they're really honest, the root cause of the problem can go right back to the original decision to employ someone new. Maybe even the first employee they ever took on. Whether you were taking on your first employee or your 100th, there are 2 aspects to the recruitment. A, getting someone with the skills required to fill whatever gap you have in your business. B, getting someone who will be a positive influence on your business. So often I see businesses focus everything on A and ignore B. This is most prevalent when they are replacing someone who has left. There is immediately a rush to find a like-for-like replacement. This is easier said than done, and the business owner is often panicked into recruiting via an agent. It often doesn't work. A better strategy is to list out all the things that person does. Then consider if some of those tasks can be moved to someone else within the business. Maybe this represents a mini promotion for them. You can play around with this. There might be alternative strategies, and those alternative strategies result in very different recruitment needs. If that's the case, then you can potentially advertise 2 different jobs. You only have to take on the best applicant from one of those ads. This doubles the chance of getting a candidate who's a good fit for your business. Whatever the circumstances are, though, getting the job description right from the outset is critical. This should be done in 2 stages. 1, a detailed list of all the responsibilities that will be undertaken by the new employee. 2, an overview of the above that explains in general terms what the position entails. And of course, there needs to be a job title. This needs to be something that candidates will understand. Be careful not to use your own internal jargon and descriptions. The next step is to get the ad on your website. It's unlikely that it will be found directly by your preferred candidate, but the ads that you place will need to point back to it. Remember, you can get a lot more information on a page on your website than you'll be able to get into an ad. Now it's time to get the ad out there. There are lots of job sites you can advertise through. Research them thoroughly. Imagine yourself as the prospective candidate and think about what they would be looking for and the terms they might use on Google. See what the competition are offering. And then it's time to sit back and wait for the applications to roll in. Next week, we'll talk about the interviews and how you pick the most suitable candidates.